on my show today. I really appreciate you for coming through. It's always a pleasure, to have a guest on my show, and especially since you family and you have a podcast. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. Definitely have to bring you on. So how was your day today? How is it out there in New Orleans? I know we have COVID going on out here. Do you guys have any restrictions?
Well, actually, I no longer live in New Orleans. I'm retired now, so I live in Florida, right by the Kennedy Space Center.
Okay.
So, this is what life looks like once you tired of working. 41 years in medicine, so I'm good now. Loving life.
Okay, that's what's up. You're in medicine. That's a trip. I work at the hospital. I'm in nursing. That's like
okay.
It's kind of like crazy how it's familiar. But yeah, so you're in Florida. Okay, so so out there is pretty much open then, right? In Florida, as far as the restrictions, or there's still restrictions when you go into the stores? Can you still do stuff now, or?
Well, I'm about two hours and 15 minutes north of where Despicable Delusional Donnie lives. That's the nickname that I gave the dude.
Oh, okay.
And the Florida governor is so far Donnie's behind, so of course he opened the state. And after all of this spring break and what have you, we have the highest infection rate of this new strand of COVID. I call it COVID-21.
Wow,
so, it's cool, but I'm in a smaller area, so it's not as heavy a populated area. So we're good here, we're good.
Oh, okay, that's good. At least you don't have to wear the mask when you go outside then, I guess. No.
I wear the mask when I go in the store and when I'm around other people, simply because, it just makes sense to kind of protect yourself. But, I started off like I said, I started off injecting rabbits with the herpes simplex virus. So, I know a little bit about the situation. I've had a pretty good career,
Wow. Okay. So yeah, we're going to have to talk about that later. That sounds pretty interesting. Yeah, I definitely, that's why I brought you out here. I know you got a lot of background and history to definitely, bring that knowledge to the table. So yeah, it's interesting.
Right.
What did you think about this whole COVID thing? Like, some people think it's a hoax. What do you think about it?
Well, like I said, I worked for a virologist, and when I first started, I was like 17, 18. And so I know a little bit about viruses. I trained at Charity Hospital in New Orleans. It was the #1 trauma center, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. So, I dealt with all of, everything from SARS to HIV. And before HIV, it was called HTLV-3. I work with infectious diseases, and then I managed a couple of radiology departments. So I don't take it lightly, but honestly, without getting too, I'm a super nerd, for real.
Yeah.
So without getting too deep in it, one of the problems is I just don't think that there was no what you would call standardization. Like if everybody did the same thing, if everybody got the same type of test, and that's why we're seeing some of this fallout with Johnson & Johnson vaccines. And, some things are going to happen simply because, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not a hoax. It's definitely not a hoax because I've just seen too many people that I care about, that I know, that succumb to it. And, truth be told, I probably was exposed to it as well. So,
Yeah, it's really sad, because recently I found out my neighbor actually passed away from COVID. So I'm definitely there with you. I do think it's real. I know there's some people that are out there that are still in disbelief. So I'm just, I'm really curious on how people think about the virus in general. But yeah, I still tell people out here in California, we're under a lot of restrictions. We have to wear the mask outside. We haven't really got to the point where we can't wear the mask. But
Wow.
we still have to wear the mask when we go outside. Anywhere we go, it's mandatory out here. But
Right. Right.
it has opened up a little bit out here. Like the restaurants are open now, and the movie theater is just like at a small capacity. It has to be like certain
Yeah.
amount of people, and that's about it. But yeah, it's an interesting.
It's crazy.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. You know, here you got a lot of what I call Trumpies, Trumpettes,
Mm-hmm.
Trumpsters, you know, and those are the three levels that I call them, depending
Okay.
on how dedicated they are to what this dude say, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some of them drinking this orange Kool-Aid, like, you know, um, and so when you go out and you're dealing with them, you know,
Mhm.
they may be infected and you don't even know. So, you
Yeah.
know, just like in medicine, you have something called, you know, reverse isolation, you know, so
Mm-hmm.
you isolate the patient to keep them from getting infected by you. So I use that
Yeah.
same way of thinking,
Mm-hmm.
basically. So I don't
Yeah.
want to nerd out your audience, man, you
Yeah,
know.
no. Go ahead. I like all your knowledge. We were, we gonna leave that for another show. I definitely, I definitely interested in how you think about the whole situation. But yeah, I know there's a lot of people out there that do
Right,
agree
right.
with you, and there's a lot of people, think. I'm just wondering how you think. Definitely, but I see your point exactly. So how was your day today? It was really nice out here in California. Did you do anything today that did you get to go outside?
Man, this is let me just when my mind said living your best life, that would be me. You know, I should be like
Okay.
on the CD cover. I'm old school, so I should be on the album cover. You know,
Okay.
like today I worked out a little bit. I got a massage, you know what I'm
Oh, that's
saying?
nice.
So, you know, that tells you how closed up this place is. Then I got, got me a little something to eat, and I've just been kind of chilling for the most part. So been writing a little bit because my show airs tomorrow. And, so I've been working a little bit on researching some topics that I'm going to do and,
Mhm.
and vetting them and doing all of that. So, that was the rest of my day. So
That's cool.
that's it.
That's
This
cool.
is definitely life.
That's
That's
nice.
definitely life.
I
So
can't wait till I get to that point where I could just retire and enjoy life, don't have to worry about anything. That's the life right there, definitely. But yeah, go ahead and tell us a little bit about your podcast. Like it comes on tomorrow. Do you do it every week?
every Thursday at 7:30, I do a live broadcast. I'm broadcasting on two mediums, basically on Facebook Live, because some of my old heads, bringing them on to new technology is kind of hard. And then they like to host me with watch parties and this sort of thing. And then I also do YouTube Live. So I simulcast in both places simultaneously. I program in both places. And the name of my show is called I Got Something to Say,
Yeah.
So It Must Be True. I use this hashtag, so I'm getting it copyrighted, and it's basically omit the logic. Design some t-shirts and what have you. And I say omit the logic because the shit don't make sense,
Yeah.
Nothing about what we see today really makes sense. So my background is in healthcare. I got a master's in radiology as a PA. Then I got a master's in public policy. So,
Wow.
those are my two areas that I tend to talk about, you know.
Oh, okay.
That's the
All
quick and
right.
dirty.
Okay, you got a lot of knowledge. Yeah, okay, I see you. I see you, family. That's
Yeah, yeah,
interesting. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
a lot of our family have medical backgrounds, which is because I'm in nursing and my dad's a doctor. He's a doctor too, so it's like really interesting.
Oh,
But
that's what's
yeah,
up. That's what's up. That's what's up.
yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, I was in the Marine Corps, and I jumped on a medevac unit, blah blah blah. But long story short, I was
Mhm.
at Howard, and I got recruited to run the radiology department at the Naval Hospital in Bethesda. So the same hospital that they sent Trump to when he supposedly had COVID,
Oh,
I
really?
was there.
Oh,
and I had a
okay.
chance, I had a chance to do, like um, be on the medical team for President, Reagan,
Oh,
Bush,
okay.
HW, Clinton, and
So
then,
that's where they
so I
send all the
spent 12
presidents.
years at the hospital. Right,
Oh,
right,
okay.
right. So I got a chance to meet some of those guys. And,
That's
then I
interesting.
also had a chance to meet Thurgood Marshall,
Oh, wow.
and growing up, he was one of my heroes. So, I got a chance to talk to him.
Wow.
So I always say, I was talking to him and I went into this little soliloquy, Mr.
Yeah.
Marshall, my name is Henry Batiste-Sin, blah, blah, blah. And he
Yeah.
says, what's your name, son? I say, Hank Batiste, but you could call me Hank. He says, no, I'm gonna call you Mr. Batiste because you earned it. I said, yes, sir. He said, now sit down, son, because you talk too much. And I just look at him, I'm like, was he joking? So he started talking to me and he says,
Mhm.
I'm really honored. He says, but basically, there's nothing special about me. He says, like you being here was where you were supposed to be. He said, there's nothing special. I did the best that I could with what I had.
Mhm.
So whenever I heard him say that afterwards, I say, it was the conversation that he had with me that precipitated that, that
Oh,
became
yeah.
one of his, what we call a hashtag today.
Oh,
So
wow.
it is what
Wow.
it is.
Wow. It's
Yeah,
something so
yeah.
small, like
So
your
I
crayon.
right. So I had a chance to do some things, and now that I'm retired, rather than sit around and do nothing,
Mm-hmm.
I decided that I was gonna start an organization, and I was kind of telling you a little bit about that. The name
Mm-hmm.
of the organization, because I have the master's in public policy, I decided I was going to do something with
Mm-hmm.
all that's going on, all of
Yeah,
this
it's a lot
Black
that's
Lives
going on.
Matter. But
Yeah, definitely.
man, yeah. But what I wanted to do, I decided I would teach young kids and grassroots organizations how to do something that's sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of times when they see us coming, they prepare. But when we move, in the shadows, we have a tendency to get things done before they can mount up a defense against them.
Mm-hmm.
So, talking about really things that affect us. We talk so much about police encounters, but it's not
Mm-hmm.
just the police encounters. I think what hurt people of color, especially not just the men, but the women as well,
Mm-hmm.
is things that happen in the courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
How you going to tell somebody that they have to pay a bond? And if you if you can't pay your rent, how the hell are
Mm-hmm.
you going to come up with $1,000 for a bond? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a form of what I call modern day slavery. And I
Mm-hmm.
did a show on Yusuf Hawkins, young brother in New York, 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly, he said he found a backpack. They say he stole it. He had a
Yeah.
$300 bond. He couldn't pay the bond, and he
Mm.
wound up being in jail for 4 years.
Wow.
So I think it has to be a three-pronged approach. I
Yeah.
say it has to be the police encounters, it has to be the judicial area, and then it also has to be legislative.
Mm-hmm.
So I figure if we can do that, then we can be more proactive versus what happens now is every time kids get killed, we are reacting to the situation instead of having a sustainable plan that we can act on day in and day out until we make progress. And they don't see that coming because they're used to us doing this no justice, no peace, instead
Mm-hmm.
of us doing something that's, a little bit more organized, so to speak.
Yeah.
So without nerding out too much, that's what it's
That
all about. So the
yeah,
name of the
no.
organization is a black agenda and policy initiatives. So ABAPI, ABA-PII.com is the website. So check it out, and basically what I'll be doing is kind of hooking up with some of the traditional HBCUs
Mm.
and fighting things like these regressive, I call him James Crow the third, you know, because
Yeah.
we've been through Jim Crow at least 2-3 times.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the grandson. So how to fight that, you know. So that's basically what it is.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Like, you know, like if you think about it, like you said, like we gotta think about how can we outsmart the police when they do pull us over. Like, what are the ways that we can like avoid like it being a hostile situation? Because a lot of times it doesn't have to get to that situation if you allow it to, you know, not to. And then just knowing your law and knowing your rights is some of the basic things that a lot of young people or a lot of people don't know, like a lot of their rights and a lot of things that can protect them, you know, when they do get pulled over, like knowing like what's your rights and what to do in those situations, because that will help you. And I was talking, it was like, it's kind of weird because I was talking to my mom earlier because I have a son, he's 17. And my mom was like, you need to talk to your son about like how like if he does get pulled over by the police, like what happens, don't get too offended. Cause you know, like in some case, I know it doesn't justify them shooting somebody or getting out of hand, because we've seen where it has been not a African American or a different race, and they've been treated, you know, differently, and they've came at the police all types of ways, you
Right,
know,
right.
cussed at them, even feels like they've been threatened, and they still have not got shot or no repercussion as far as like as Black people, you know, we see like, you know, us getting shot like more frequently, and like that's like the first thing that happens. And my mom was saying like you need to teach my son how to talk to the police, because like you need to know how to your demeanor, how to like when you do talk to me, it's about that, and it's also about the police too, you know what I'm saying? Because some reason the police, you know, a lot of them do need some police reform, but a lot of the police, they're too quick to feel like they're threatened. They're threatened by our skin color. Like they see the Black man as a threat and they're scared, you know, so their quick reaction is to be defensive, and they need to learn that unconscious bias when they do come across people. Like, don't think all people are the same, and, you know, and to actually look back, this could be my nephew, or this could be my niece, or this could be, you know, somebody I know that I'm pulling over. Like, I need to treat them how I would treat my friend or my niece or my nephew, or just treat everybody the same. Don't treat everyone, you know, different. Like everyone needs to be treated the same as far as when it comes to any type of like police reform or policing, like interacting with people. I think they need to be more training involved on how they respond to situations.
I think that's all fine and dandy, but the
Mm-hmm.
truth of the matter is these new school police are
Mm-hmm.
not like the ones. I was 27 years old at
Mm-hmm.
Howard University. I was driving a red Porsche.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I would get pulled over, not because they thought I was doing something illegal. I had a
Mm-hmm.
big Howard University sticker in my back windshield. It was
Mm-hmm.
because they were jealous of the life that I was living. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And because I knew all of my stuff was legit, I would get belligerent as hell. You know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't dare do that today, you know. No, simply because now it's an unwritten rule that there's open season on Black people, people
Mm-hmm.
of color, but especially Black men.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the things I used to do, like, what the hell you pulling me over for? Oh, no, ain't no way I was speeding, you know, this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, you know, you could do everything right. You could have your hands on the steering wheel. You could have your all of your identification and paperwork on the visor. If this, if you get pulled over by Officer Klux, Officer Klan, he's
Mm-hmm.
already got in his mind what he's going to do. He's just looking for a reason,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to do what he does. You know,
Yeah,
so
sadly.
talking to a kid is cool. That's one thing. But the other thing is we gotta do something to weed out all of these undercover races. Like I call them
Mm-hmm.
Officer Coup, Officer Clark, and Officer Clan. You know,
Yeah.
they're the oak keepers in bullshit like that. So, that's what we really have to do. That's why I say it has to be more organized.
Yeah.
We've already, my mom's told me when I was coming up to act a certain type of way. And then I got to a point where I felt like I was bona fide and qualified. So I did what I wanted to do. I felt like, yo, you can't get mad because I'm wearing a certain this, that, or the other, And but yeah, and it's not
But it
always
happens.
white cops.
It's
It's
everyone.
black cops.
Could be any. Yeah.
Yeah. So
sadly, it could be your own people or someone else. That's
like
just
we were saying, if
jealous.
there was a punk in high school and now they got a badge and a gun, all of a sudden they got this false courage simply because they're trying to make up for who took their lunch money. So it's not about the kids so much. It's about them. How the hell you take a white boy into custody who just killed 10 people and he's coming at you with an AR-15 in his hand, literally a smoking gun. So it's them, it's not us. That's why we have to do some things, but it has to be more organized. It can't just be when Floyd gets killed, or when um, Lil Dante gets killed, or whatever. This kid's 130 pounds. What's intimidating about him? You know what I'm saying? There's no way that this woman thought she had her taser, because you aim a taser the same way you aim a gun. So you looking down the barrel of this thing, you know what you got in your hand, and you saying taser, taser, taser. You're doing that to cover your own ass.
That's what they do sometimes. They do cover up. They're not going to admit to the truth. And just like we're going to talk about the verdict coming up, how there was a lot of covering up that didn't work at the end. And, so we're going to talk about the case, because we've been talking about a lot of killing, and how you mentioned that one police officer, the lady that said she had a taser, but she really had a gun. And this happens a lot in the police department. I was watching a show recently, and a lot of people said black people get killed every day by the hands of police, and then only sometimes it's seen when the people it's being seen more because of the cameras, which is something that's really happening now. And the police just cover it up. If it's not caught on camera, it never happened. We don't know what's happening. It could be happening right now. But I definitely want to talk about the George Floyd case. So yesterday, everyone was waiting for the verdict. We saw the whole George Floyd protests go on throughout the summer, throughout the pandemic. We seen, the same thing, kind of it was similar. But yesterday, I know you didn't see did you see some of the case, I guess, the case?
Absolutely. It's something, when I present my information to my viewers, my listeners, the people that follow me, I call them my family, my Facebook, my YouTube family. I do so that I can break down some of the political jargon, so that I can analyze and debunk some of the theories and the bullshit. When we start talking about, they did this and they did that and they did the other, this is your training officer with 26 years. This George Floyd thing, what I think is happening, and this is my humble opinion, what we've seen in the last 2 or 3 days, we've seen people get shot by cops. And I think it's repercussions. Every time something happened that's positive, you understand, there's some fallout, because this shit is chess, it's not checkers. So when we make a move and we say check, the game ain't over. So what happens is they say, okay, we got to fix something. Case in point, November 3rd, Joe Biden won. Okay. As soon as he won, everybody starts saying something. First, they're telling this delusional, despicable. Okay, And let me just let you people know, sometimes the words get out my mouth, but I'm just trying to keep it on the low. But they tell this despicable dude that he lost, and he starts telling this lie. So it's the same mentality. What you saw is not what you think you saw. So this is the bullshit that they've been trying to feed us.
Yeah.
Last night we got this, and if you watch the closing arguments, after the closing arguments, the black guy, balding black guy, Jerry Blackwell is his name. His nickname is the Johnny Cochran of the Midwest.
Oh yeah.
Dude is brilliant. He's freaking brilliant. He debunked everything that this so-called defense attorney said. Now, this defense attorney is the same one that got the Minneapolis cop off from shooting Philando Castillo, the black guy. So here's someone who knew their rights, who was legitimate, has certifications, let the officer know. You're supposed to let them know. I got pulled over. I said, I'm a retired, I'm a former Marine. I need to let you know before we even get started that I have a loaded weapon in my car. When somebody starts to follow me, I lock and load, because I'm just not going to be taken out like that, okay? Guy looks at me, he shines the light in my eyes. He goes and he takes the weapon out of the car. He's not supposed to do that. He takes the weapon out of the car, he takes it back to his cruiser. At that point in time, you broke the chain of custody, because you could do anything with my weapon and say that I did it. So it turns into my word against yours. Cops can lie. It's called what? Qualifiable immunity, which means they can lie to the ends justifying the means. So without going off on a tangent, what we saw with this was the first step. But I always tell people, I says, don't get too happy, because the Republicans, the Trump Republicans, the Q&A, all of those folks, QAnon and what have you, they're already lobbying to make changes, to make sure that their police can treat us the way that they've been treating us. You know, so it's again, it has to be organized. We have to get our people together. There's strength in money. There's strength in money, and there's money in numbers, which means that there's strength in numbers. And that's the only thing that America respects, economics, plain and simple. So until we can buy justice, it's just us.
Yeah, it's a sad part. That a lot of this killing is still going on, and then right after we saw the case go on, they read the verdict, there was another killing. So so there's a lot to be done. So you, like, a lot of people are saying, do you think this is a move forward? Like this, like you said, like there's a lot of work to be done, but do you think moving forward, is this an example of how like other police should be treated as far as being prosecuted? Or do you think that this is just one case that this police got found guilty and, you know, they did do the right thing, but later on, you know, it's the same thing might continue? Do you think this is like a set in the right direction?
It's a battle. It's a battle, but it's not a war. We haven't won the war. We won one battle. We won one battle. And as long as we understand that, it's going to be that way. You know, as long as we understand that this is simply a battle. We made some headway, but like I said, it's chess, it's not checkers, because the game ain't over. There's still men left on the board. And unfortunately, today what I did is I reflected and I posted a picture of Trayvon, because here's a situation where your word against mine, Why does
Mm-hmm.
your word carry more weight simply because of the color of your skin? And the
Mm-hmm.
truth of the matter, Zimmerman wasn't even, Zimmerman is not black. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he's not white. He's really Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that's why so many of us want to simulate and imitate and all of that. So what we did was a step in the right direction. It shows what happens when there's an organized front, when we organize and we come at them with numbers. With the numbers, we have money. There's ways of getting money and what have you to fight some of this, but it's far from over. It's far
Yeah.
from over.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I agree with you.
Now, now I hate to say it, I always in my show I have this thing I talk about. I make so-called predictions, but
Mm-hmm.
it's I'm thinking ahead. This being a game of chess, you to beat your opponent, you have to think 12 moves ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So me thinking ahead, when this happens, these are the possibility of things that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking for, like I told you last night, you
Mm-hmm.
know, watch your back because there's going to be some retaliation from some of these coward racists. And I left out the word ass. I didn't call them coward ass. If I was on
Mm-hmm.
my show, I would say these coward ass racists, but I'm respecting your show, so I didn't say
Okay.
it.
Okay.
But seriously, these are
Mm-hmm.
these are the people that show up. You could be sitting in, like you said, restaurants are just starting to open.
Mm-hmm.
You could be standing in the line at the post office,
Mm-hmm.
and guy comes up in there simply because you come up in there and
Mm-hmm.
black on black, black, white. It doesn't matter. So there's going to be some
Mm-hmm.
fallout.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
going to be the other side of the coin.
Yeah, there's some people, I'm pretty sure there's some people upset about what happened. Now that this has laid out, I know he got charged with all three counts. Now he got charged with all three counts, and he is I guess predicted the amount of time the like maximum is 40 years. What do you think he's gonna actually get? What do you think he's gonna get?
Probably 15.
15 years. Okay.
I think he'll probably get like 3 10-year sentences, and they may say the first one is gonna be 15, and the other two will be concurrent. So he might wind up with 15 to 20 years. If he gets more than 25 years, I'll be shocked.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, Derek Chauvin. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Like, I don't think he will last 10 like a year in prison. As far as he looked like he wanted to kill himself right then and there. I don't even think. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I know definitely he's probably not going to get more than 15 years. We'll see. But like you said, a lot of people I got that same number. So we're gonna see what happens. I do see this as like a baby step. I'm not gonna say this is a big step forward, like you said, but we do got a lot of work to do.
right.
And I do appreciate your organization and organizations like yours that are helping the situation. And we need more people out there to try to make change and to teach people. We need like older people to teach the younger people on how like a lot of stuff that like a lot of people don't know about. So I definitely appreciate you for that. Did you have anything else to add? Like, do you have anything else to add with that? I know, like I was saying, the next day, Makia Bryant, she was shot. She was only 15 years old. It happened right after this incident. Now, I
This
don't
was
know.
the girl with the knife in her hand.
Yeah,
She
but the
was
girl with the
fighting
knife.
a
Yeah, but
couple of
what?
right, right. I saw that, but I didn't get a chance to dissect blah blah blah. He
Mm-hmm.
can simply say that he was saving someone else's life, so it's a justifiable shoot. You know what I'm saying? But the only thing I would add to this
Mm-hmm.
is now you I I gave you my I did the spoken word based on, you know, this whole what I call a paradox, a conundrum going on in my head
Mm-hmm.
when Lil Amanda got up and did,
Mm-hmm.
you know, her poem
The
at the
poem.
inauguration.
Uh-huh.
And right, and everybody is talking about how it was a new day and this, that, and the other, and so forth and so
Mm-hmm.
on. But I'm old enough to realize some of the same things that my dad, my grandfather told me. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? So when you're young, you haven't been tainted by all America reneging. America makes promises and then they renege on a promise, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna give you 40 acres and a mule. Psych, no
Yeah.
40 acres and a mule.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna make it easy for you to vote. We're gonna make it easy for you to move up. Yeah. And then they pull all of that back. So
Mm-hmm.
young people don't see that, and that's where the promise is. That's why when you look at civil rights and things that have been done,
Mm-hmm.
it's always older people that do the strategizing, and it's the and implementation, and it's the young people that carry it out. You
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is what kind of has to happen, and that's why I say, what I really appreciate you bringing me on your show. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to talk over anybody's head or what have you, but I wanted to reach out to your audience because
Mm-hmm.
you guys are the ones, you and those a little younger than you, those that, when I was in college, when I was
Mm-hmm.
at Howard,
Mm-hmm.
um, George Bush had just gotten, George H.W. Bush had just gotten elected.
Mm.
And we found out Lee Atwater was the architect behind all of this hate politics and fear politics that we see
Mm.
now.
Mm-hmm.
And when we found out, because Howard University president was a staunch Republican.
Mm-hmm.
So when we found out he was
Mm.
on the board of directors or
Mm.
the board of regents, you know, we took over the administration building, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, unfortunately, I was a professional student, so I was working for the university hospital. So I can't
Oh.
be standing out no justice, no peace, you know, but
Oh
I'm
man.
playing both sides of the fence.
Oh man.
I exercised my right to protest. Then I
Yeah.
climbed out the window, went down the hill, threw on my gear,
Oh,
and got to look professional now, you know.
oh
So I got to take
man.
off my Timbos, turn my hat around, and you know. So, but here's the crazy thing about it. I got recruited
Mm-hmm.
to take over the radiology department right out of
Mm-hmm.
Howard. And I had just come out the military.
Mm-hmm.
And the money they offered me, I couldn't say no to. That was more money than, you know, bro, I ever
Yeah.
seen. Now I'm
Yeah.
driving the Porsche, and I'm living the life. I'm living on the top floors. I call it the penthouse. So
Yeah.
you get the trappings of economics. So
Mm-hmm.
now you have something to lose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Talking to George Bush, I did barrier minimum on Ronald Reagan. Then I got
Mm-hmm.
a chance to meet because I was with Reagan, and I'm kind of bullshitting with him and what have you. I'm
Yeah.
explaining the exam to him, and I'm like, well, Mr. President, you're gonna have. So I'm doing an impersonation of Reagan to Reagan, and the doctors
That.
was like, wow, I can't believe you did this, you know. And Reagan's like, well, damn it, you do me better than me. And I'm like, yes, sir, but you've got to take the tube. So after that, he relaxed. And I told him the method to my madness was having him to relax.
Mm.
Out of that came this whole thing. So
Wow.
I always tell people, take a set of circumstances to create
Mm.
a situation.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, when we look at this, the circumstances was all of those kids dying for Derek Chauvin to be in the arrogance of his head that
Mm.
there's no way
That he was gonna get
that
prosecuted.
this is going to fall.
Hmm.
Right, right. But I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to just shut it down. One of the things I would like to see happen, and there's so much about my vision I don't share because I don't want other people to take it and spoil the waters.
Yeah.
One thing I would like to see a collected effort on, a concerted effort on, is if someone is murdered by the police and their transgressions, their shortcomings are made public, then the negative write-ups and the transgressions of the police should also be admissible. Because what it does is it levels the playing field when it comes to judging these people.
Yeah.
You know, so if we can make that happen, that would be one step in the right direction, because now the cop can no longer go into the courtroom with qualified immunity, which means that all of that dirt he did,
it shouldn't matter.
You don't know about.
Yeah, or it shouldn't even matter.
If you're gonna hold it against me, that me and Shaniqua got caught behind the bushes, then they should hear that you have 3 sexual assaults against you. People that made these, because what I did was legal.
Yeah.
The only thing you hit me up for, having sex in public. But you, on the other hand, you forcing yourself on a woman.
Yeah.
And then you said it's not true. And because you're an officer of the court and you have qualified immunity, when you do something, it's not brought in the court. So if you're going to talk about what I did wrong, we should be talking about what your punk ass did wrong.
Yeah, it should be even or not brought up at all. If it's going to be that's the case. I don't even think they should bring up past situations. They should just bring up whatever they think they pulled them over for. Or if they do bring up past situations, like you said, they could say, oh, this police officer, he, by the way, shot 5 black men and never got prosecuted or something, like something. They have to bring up, like you said, his wrongs and not just be playing one side. Like we saw with the thing with Derek Chauvin, and they tried to talk about, George Floyd and how he had health conditions, and that's the reason why he died, and he had pre-health conditions, and they were trying to find ways to cover up a reason why they did what they did. I think everything should just be like up front. This is what happened. This is how it played out.
Right.
This is
right.
None of that past stuff.
Honestly, when you start to talk about something like that, it's gonna make it into the court anyway, because when they start to talk about blood toxicology and what was in the system and what have you, that's one thing. But when you start talking about, he had 10 years of drug abuse and blah, 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 just like it's pretended like this is the first, for instance, with the cop, or the first incident with the cop, your priors should not make a difference.
Yeah, it shouldn't make a difference.
So if you want to talk about, I had, this, that, or the other in my bloodstream, you found that I had been drinking and it was 420 and, I had marijuana in my system when I died, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But to say that, I was busted for this and I was busted for that, no, that shouldn't be in there. That shouldn't be in there.
Yeah.
No.
It shouldn't really matter, because if you the bottom line is somebody died at the hands of somebody else.
At your hands.
Right, because they weren't trained properly, and that should be the main focus. So like you said, I'm hoping this won't be like, we know this ain't going to be the last time we see something like this, but I'm hoping this is like better. It's a better situation. But I thank you again for coming on my show. You're gonna have to come on my show again. We're gonna have a lot of knowledge. I'm about to pick your brain some more.
Man, you got me on here like I'm listening to myself talk, and I'm thinking about nah, I ain't gonna do that. A little rapper carrying on, man. I'm thinking about Big Boy Mike. You know what I'm saying? But honestly, I think once you hit a certain age, your legacy should be about bringing those up behind you. So when you reached out to me, there's no way in Helen that I would not show up and be right for you.
Yeah.
And, especially you, fam, Like I said, you're a little
Yeah.
cutie, so you gotta be related. You know what I mean? Nah, but really, tell your mom and dad, they did their job, man. You represent yourself, you represent your family well. And that's our legacy. The Batiste legacy is trying to leave this world in a better place than it was when we got here. You know what I mean? That's what my
Definitely.
parents did, and that's the burden that they put on my shoulders. So that's what I pass on. So, baby girl, that's what you got. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Again, I'm definitely going to share this episode with all our families. So, I already told
No
my
doubt, no
dad, I
doubt,
told
no
my
doubt.
mom, I told some people, so definitely it was a
Right,
pleasure. We're going to have
right.
to do another podcast, and thank you again. Did you want to give any shout outs before we leave? Any shout outs?
Well, my shout out really is to, like I told you, my mom's younger brother moved to Minneapolis, so we got family in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. So my shout out is to my Minnesota people. Keep holding it down. A brighter day is coming. A better day is coming. You understand? Like I said, though this is not the end of the war, we have to celebrate these little victories. And the analogy that I use, and this is for some of those, you talk about your boyfriend being, kind of a sports junkie. So I'm gonna do this for him. When Magic first got to LA, and I've been a Lakers fan since before Magic, but
Okay.
anyway, when Magic got to LA, it was Kareem's team. And when they won their first playoff game, Magic throws up the ball and he's jumping up and down and he's all happy and what have you. And he jumps in Kareem's arm and Kareem said, "Cool down, young brother. Just one game."
Right.
So I want to leave everybody with that.
Right.
This victory is just one game. Think of this as a 7-game series and it's not over yet. So we can't, right now, this was on our home court. The next one, when we go to the court system, when we go to the legislative system, we on their home court. So that's what we have to gear up for. That's what we have to be prepared for. That's it. Shout out to all my people in New Orleans, to the Batiste clan, no matter where you are, keep on holding it down now. And young people, I say, keep doing what you're doing. You're invincible, whether you realize it or not. Don't let nobody tell you, So you want your son to be proud. You want him to be strong. So don't break a stallion, but make him prepared so he'll know which way to go. But remember, this is just one game, and this is a 7-game series. So there's work to do.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Henry Batiste. Everyone, check out his show on YouTube. Thank you again.
I got something to say.
Yes.
So it must be true. Omit the logic and let's get this done.
Yes, definitely. And check him out on Facebook, Henry Batiste. Thank you again. I will definitely send you this recording, and I will talk to you soon. Shout out to my family. Shout out to the Coleman Baptiste family. I'm the Coleman. I'm the branch off from the Baptiste. But shout out to my friends, my family, and everyone watching this and listening. This will be on Spotify. Airs tonight. So thank you so much. And I will talk to you soon.
That's what's up.
Thank you. All right. I'll talk to you. Tease.
All right now.
All right. Bye.